In Fairfield County, something new comes across my desk every day. Crimes are committed, cases are solved, and a community is made safe by the hardworking employees of the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office.
Welcome to This Week with Sheriff Dave Phelan, a weekly program here on LSN. We're also carried by a number of the radio affiliates here in Lancaster. Do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners that join us each and every week. This program is produced at Fairfield Christian Academy, and our executive producer, Kelli Roberts. This week we have a great guest, Detective Kelli Stats. Welcome.
Thank you.
And we were talking, I think, yesterday that you've not been on the television program, but on the radio program. That had to be 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
It's been a long
Anyway.
time. Right when I first came to the Detective Bureau, yeah.
Wow. And so how long have you been with the Detective Bureau?
8 years.
8 years?
Yep.
Well, very good. And before we go further, Detective Stats was actually the Deputy of the Year in 2007 and Detective of the Year in 2014. So congratulations on those. There's not many people who get those, but we appreciate you,
Thank you.
and your diligence and hard work. Now, you reside in Lancaster. You have 2 daughters. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about your background, Kelli.
Well, I went through the academy through the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office in 1998, which was very nice because I could go do my full-time job and then go to the academy in the evenings, which worked out very well. Got hired on in 1999, and when I started out there, I worked in the communications division, the 911 dispatch center. And I remained in the dispatch center for about a year, and then from there I was put out on patrol, and I stayed on patrol for 8 years.
Wow.
On second shift.
Okay.
So from there was a position at the Detective Bureau. I put in for it and was accepted to the position, and I've been at the Detective Bureau since.
Wow. Now your daughters play soccer, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. My youngest, she's 11. She actually plays for a club.
Okay.
And which we do a lot of traveling. And then my oldest daughter, she's 13, and she actually plays for junior high for Amanda Schools.
Yeah, so you do a lot of the road trips.
Yes.
Knowing that because I have some grandchildren and we wind up in Cincinnati sometimes.
Yes,
That's
yes, we've
some of those
talked about
tournaments.
that, and yes, you said, I think one time we were talking about a tournament, and you said, well, I'm going to be there. And I'm
That's
like,
right.
well, yep, I'm going to be there too.
That's right. Now, so you joined the office in 98.
Yes.
And you were special before that for
Yes.
a period of time.
For a whole year.
For a whole year.
Yeah, from 98 when I graduated from the academy till September of 99.
So now what, about 17, 18 years now you've been on?
I'm going on my 18th full-time year.
18th year. What's the biggest change, Detective Stats, that you've seen as far as the type of things that go on within the county in those years, from the time you started as a deputy to today, some of the things you've seen that change over the years?
I would say the most significant would be all the internet crimes, the internet stuff, the social media, because back then, you know, we didn't have a lot of that. It was just being introduced.
Okay.
So now with all that stuff going on, major increase, especially in the identity thefts and people getting their identity stolen over the internet and so forth.
And so we see a lot of that. And some of that's tough, isn't it? Because some of these perpetrators are actually in other countries.
Absolutely. Other countries, other states, you just don't know.
Is there any cases that come to mind where people, you know, send a lot of money to some of these scams?
Oh, absolutely. Actually, one of our other detectives in the Detective Bureau right now is currently working one, unfortunately, where some woman, believed she had a boyfriend over the internet, and he scammed her into sending $21,000 in cash here to Fairfield County. And we currently, the detective that worked that did a great job and found the actual victim, and she's eventually going to get her money back. So
that is really amazing.
Yeah, yes.
Because those are tough.
And then, finding out there is also another victim in that same case where money was sent from wherever to Arizona, $30,000. Same case, just one came to Fairfield and one went to Arizona.
I guess what advice would you give our viewers and listeners on how to not be scammed or how to protect your identity?
The most important thing is just check your bank accounts. Check your credit card statements, if not daily, at least weekly. And, you know, a lot of these scams that come in, unfortunately, they do target the elderly. And, you know, these people are a lot more understanding. They're using one particular one that I had. They're saying, you know, I'm so-and-so representing your grandson. He's been in jail. You need to send bail money. They're pulling, you know, they're getting sympathy from them. So my biggest thing I would tell people is just, if you're not expecting, if you never entered a lottery, you're not expecting a $5,000 check in the mail, nobody owes you that money, it's probably a scam.
Is there some things they could do to check? Say they get some kind of check in the mail and they said this is for you. Is there some things they might be able to do to kind of navigate through that?
Absolutely. First thing foremost is call your local law enforcement, because a lot of times your local law enforcement already has been notified of a scam. Other thing would be call the bank that's on the check. Call your local bank. And, you know, you're a customer and they're going to do everything they can to help you. So I would definitely, before anybody tries to cash it or deposit it into their account, make some phone calls.
Yeah, and every, I don't know, month or two, we will get calls into our office and people will say, are you collecting money for bulletproof vests for the deputies? Are you collecting money for your K-9 unit or for fallen officers? And again, as the sheriff's office, we do not call and solicit people for money or those type of things. So without exception, almost all of those are con games. And, you know, people say, well, I sent money off, or somebody came to the door saying they were, you know, with law enforcement, and I gave them, you know, 10, 20 bucks and those kind of things.
Right. And that's something I just saw this morning on the news, you know, with Columbus, somebody identifying themselves with Columbus Police, trying to collect cash, using the whole, you know, all the stuff that's going on right now in the media with law enforcement, using that, trying to get cash. And it's very unfortunate because, you know, whenever we go out and identify ourselves, we always have our badges, our business cards, anything like that to identify ourselves. So. Right.
What's the most common type of criminal offense that you investigate?
Well.
Or the Detective Bureau investigates?
The most common would have to be the breaking and entering, the burglaries, and unfortunately, again, a lot of the identity thefts. Whether it be somebody, you know, they use their identity or they compromise their bank account or something like that. Those are probably the biggest ones that we work.
And one of the things that I've noticed, and coming from Columbus or a bigger department, is that you would have detectives that would be burglary detectives and detectives involved in bad checks or white collar crime or auto theft and those kind of things. But you folks in our detective, you have to investigate everything from the bad checks to the double homicide.
Absolutely.
So how do you learn how to investigate all those type of offenses, and how does that work?
Well, that's actually, to me, that's the fun part of our job, because we don't get burnt out on just one particular thing. We do get to investigate a lot of things. So we get to go to a multitude of trainings.
Right.
You know, as trainings come in, you know, we'll sign up for them. The supervisor will say, hey, you know, I'm going to send you guys this. So yeah, that's the great part of our job, is we do get to do a lot of different things. So we get to do the different trainings. So we kind of have more that we can say under our belt as far as our resume goes. We have a lot more training because we do investigate a lot.
Is there any type of investigation that any type of crime that you kind of specialize in?
I would have to say probably like the burglaries and the B&Es and stuff like that. Just from the standpoint, I love the evidence part.
Okay.
If we go on search warrants and we do stuff, I love to do the evidence. The guys can go, the other people, detectives can go do the interviews, they can do all that stuff. I love to do the evidence, taking the photographs, bagging everything. To me, I like to do that.
Kind of crawling around looking for evidence and those kind of things?
Yeah, that's my favorite part.
Any cases come to mind that kind of like, you know, I just saw you had a big case where you had a couple guys charged with breaking and entering, and kind of a big case back last year.
Yeah, we have unfortunately, I guess we do have a lot of big cases, and that particular one, the residents of Fairfield County were getting hit a lot, breaking into garages, stealing, anything they could get their hands on, power tools, lawnmowers, just a multitude of things. And for probably weeks, we followed them. We tried to, do surveillance and so forth. And we were very fortunate one night to, with the help of the technology we have today, GPS,
Right.
and all that good stuff, we were able to actually catch them in the act. They had just broken into several barns in the area, had stolen a four-wheeler, other tools, and we were able to apprehend them after, like I said, probably they were active for several months. So we were able to apprehend them, and it was a good case. It was a
And
good
then,
case.
the other thing that we see a lot is there's kind of a disproportionate number of criminals or perpetrators that are doing it to support drug habits.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate part, because unfortunately with our property crimes and all of our crimes that we have, the drug abuse and the crimes go hand in hand. I mean, and that's a lot of times when we're interviewing people, we'll ask them, "What's your drug of choice?" Without even knowing that they take drugs, we just automatically, "What's your drug of choice?" And they'll tell you, "I have a problem."
Right.
I have a problem. I'm trying to support my kids. I'm trying to do this. and it all relates back to their drug abuse.
And the other thing that I think is interesting, at least what a lot of when we talk about homes getting broken into, they happen in the daytime.
Yeah.
And kind of the same method of operation where people knock on the door, the burglar knocks on the door. If they don't get an answer, they go ahead and force entry into the homes.
Correct. And we see a lot of that. And I think you probably remember this, the one we had here not too long ago, where the homeowners had the camera in the doorbell.
Yes.
And that was just great. I mean, to us as detectives, that was wonderful, because off of that picture, we were able to get someone identified. So that's the fun stuff. And people are scared. I mean, you're home during the day, somebody knocks on your door, and you're not expecting somebody. You look out the window and you see somebody. You're just like, do I answer the door or don't I answer the door? This day and age, you just don't know.
Yeah, you don't know,
So-
especially if you have kids at home alone. And I know you've got daughters that might be there. Somebody comes up in the middle of the day and knocks on the door in the summertime.
Absolutely.
That could be
Yeah, and
a
I tell
burglar.
them, don't answer the door. Just pick up the phone and try to call, myself or your dad to see if we're expecting anybody, and we'll tell them. And that's what we tell people: if you're not expecting anybody, don't answer the door. You want to yell, hold on a minute, just so somebody knows you're in there. But it's scary. It is.
We're just about out of time. I'd like to have you back next week, and maybe we can talk about some things that homeowners can do to protect themselves, and maybe even people going out shopping and those kind of things. I know you see a lot of the snatch and grab and those kind of things.
Okay.
With us this program has been Detective Kelli Sass, the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office, was our Deputy of the Year of 2007 and the Detective of the Year 2014. Appreciate you being here, Kelli. Kelli does a great job, along with all the members of the Sheriff's Office and certainly the Detective Bureau. The clock on the wall says we've got to go. Until next week, same time, same place. If you're driving, buckle up. God bless, and we'll see you right here next week.